I am joined today by Marco Menestrina of Kaleidobolt. Kaleidobolt are a psychedelic hard rock power trio based in Finland. Their first record, The Zenith Cracks, came out in 2016. They are about to release their third record called This One Simple Trick on May 6th on Svart Records. And Marco, it's great to have you, man.
Yeah, nice to be here.
Yeah. I was ignorant to your music before it hit my desk a few days ago, and it's it's one of those that drops my jaw immediately. It's just crazy. I get an MC5 kind of angst, that kind of thing, with the most polished progressive instrumentation. You guys are the best of the best at your instruments. You know how to play. These are you're trained musicians. It's obvious. It's fantastic, really interesting stuff. Now, I described it as psychedelic hard rock, and I've heard it described as stoner rock, with that fuzzy, heavy bass, bottom heavy stuff. How do you describe Kaleidobolt music?
Well, yeah, those terms that you used sort of applied. The stoner rock thing is. Can you hear me? Okay, by the way.
I can. Yeah, perfectly.
Okay, great. Yeah, the stoner rock thing is maybe applies more to our earlier stuff. And by the way, we have our first album. It was actually a self-titled that came out in 2015. So this is our fourth album that we're about to release.
Wow, fantastic. Yeah, do you have that available somewhere? I didn't see that.
It should be on Spotify. At least I think so, and it should be on Bandcamp and the usual suspects.
Really? Okay, I'll have to look again. I apologize for that.
No problem. It's a really rough sounding album. We put it together after we were a band for maybe 3 months or something. So it's
wow.
It sounds still a bit clumsy. What were we saying? Yeah, the psychedelic hard rock. That sounds about right.
Okay. Yeah, and it's good to see that you're happy with that, because I see that a lot. I see that description quite a bit, and yeah, I mean, it fits for me as well as a listener. I thought that was fairly accurate. When I like to turn people on to what I'm listening to, especially this, because it is so interesting and it is such quality. But this is one where I don't know what to play for the person. It's kind of you have to listen to it all. I think for me, that's the way it was to really get everything that you guys are doing. What should be the first thing I play for somebody turning them on to Kaleidobolt music?
Well, definitely something from either This One Simple Trick or from Bitter. I think that the first track of Bitter being Another Toothpick, you get a pretty good idea of what's going on, like really frenetic, intense, hard rocking power trio.
Yeah,
I think that's a good start.
Yeah, cool. And every time I say that you guys are a trio, or I hear a power trio, and I'm like, there is so much sound coming out of these three people. It is just wow. I cannot believe that it's three people. There's no way. It's fantastic. Now you have a new drummer in the fold, Mårten Gustafsson. How has the band changed having Mårten on drums, if at all?
Well, Sampo Kärjen, the singer and guitar player, and and myself, we've always been the main songwriters. So in terms of songwriting, it changed so that, you know, you have a third of a band that is brand new, and so it gave that kind of breath of fresh air in a way, but that's a bit unfair to the old drummer. Yeah, it put us in a situation in which we were really motivated into starting something from scratch, like the way we started playing with Mårten. For the first maybe 6 months, we haven't rehearsed with him any of our previous material. We started composing new music right away. Wow. And that felt really exciting, like from the beginning, and fruitful.
Yeah.
And it just so happened that happened. It just so happened that coincided with the beginning of the pandemic. So we didn't have shows for like a year or so. So we had time to have a new record, almost fully composed before we needed to worry about learning any of our back catalog.
Right. Yeah, and that's, you know, I hear that so much that, you know, I mean, it was so bad to have this pandemic and, you know, shut down all the live gigs and stuff. But it, you know, I hear it so much that, you know, it gave bands time to write, you know, record, do a lot of things, a lot of writing. You know, a lot of people have a nice big cache of songs now that they can draw off of, which is, you know, the silver lining, if you will.
Yeah, for sure. It affected, as I was saying, is it's mostly Sampo and myself writing songs, and it affected the two of us quite differently. He became like Sampo became really methodic into waking up every day and with the idea, okay, I'm just going to sit down with an instrument and write a new song. Whether it's good or bad, I'm just going to like exercise that muscle. And yeah, he came up with a lot of really great stuff. And at the beginning for myself was the complete opposite. Like I was in this like creative stalemate. Is that a word?
Yeah.
Like just kind of depressed and nowhere to go, and then eventually it alternated. It was the other way around. So it worked really well like that for us.
That's great to hear. That is great to hear. Have you changed the way you write or approach the music since, you know, the first record? I know you said the first record's rough, and, you know, do you write the same way though?
In a way, the first record is a bit of an oddity because I had written all the songs myself before even the band was together, and then the second record, it was a bit more of a collaborative effort. And what I can say is that we don't do that much jamming anymore. It's a lot of stuff that we do is very composed and thought out. Okay. There are of course some song sections and some parts here and there that call for that kind of improvisation, but most of it we realize that for the kind of music that we want to play and for the kind of live show that we want to put on, it's better if we are like this super rehearsed clockwork oiled rock machine.
It is pretty crazy, man. I mean, I'm listening to it and I'm thinking it sounds like a jam. You know, it sounds improvisational in its at its core, but you can tell that you're all on the same page. It's kind of like the most successful jam you've ever heard. You know what I mean? Whereas there's nothing loose about it. It's super, super tight, but it is eclectic. It's not verse, chorus, verse, and you know, you guys are sound a little bit like you're going in different directions, but you don't. You stay together, and that's what is very, very unique in that way. It's really fun to listen to.
Thank you. Thank you.
What are the influences in the band? You know, like I said, I hear a lot of MC5, but it's much more accomplished than that. And I know the Aristocrats, I don't know if you're aware of them with Marco Miniman and
Yeah,
they're
right.
on that same, you know, very, very sharp and tight. So it's kind of a mixture of those two for me. But what do you bring to the band as far as influence? Where does all of this come from for you?
It's obviously ever changing, but I mean, you hit the nail right on the head there with MC5. I mean, that's I don't know if that's our North Star, but it's one of the North Stars, of course. I love the MC5, but then I really love King Crimson, all the different formations, the 70s, the 80s, and even the 90s stuff. That's I really love that band. But then, of course, we listen to a lot of jazz also. A lot of well, me, I'm not so much into metal, but Sampo and Mårten have a pretty strong metal background. But it changes every time. Like this past few months, I've been listening mostly to hip hop myself, for example.
Okay, yeah, and I don't hear a lot of that. It's you know, it doesn't have a real funk kind of thing, but it's there, obviously.
Yeah, I guess so. Like there's you start listening to bass lines from 70s funk that have been then sampled into beats, and it's the bridge is not as long as one would imagine.
Yeah, see, that's pretty great. It's pretty great. You know, and I've watched the YouTube clip of what was it, Sonic Fest, like it's a
the Sonic Blast.
Sonic Blast. And you do a little bit of Heart of the Sunrise. Yes, it's Heart of the Sunrise, and I mean, oh God, it's just man, you guys are just incredible.
Yes, I think Yes is Mårten's favorite band of all time, and he's been trying to catch them live for many years, but he's always either on tour or else he gets sick whenever they come to Finland, and it's like written in the stars that he's not gonna be able to.
That's too bad. Yeah, Yes is something, and you know, that bit of Heart of the Sunrise that you guys do there is wow.
That's a great song. Like that's it's so it's so aggressive and so not so much complicated, but complex in a way that is so fulfilling. You know what I mean?
Yep, I know exactly what you mean, and I get that from them, and I get that from you guys. That's that's I see that influence for sure. Not so much in sound sonically, but in that structure where it is complex, but it's not so complex that it doesn't have an interesting thing that keeps you captivated, and
Right. Yeah.
it's pretty cool. Um, you write a lot of the material. What do you draw off of? Do you draw off of fantasy, human emotion, politics? How does what inspires you to write?
Um, hmm. Well, the easy answer would be everything and nothing. But I can say that I'm much more at home writing music than writing lyrics, and I would say that 90% of the time that I come up with some melody or some riff or some chord progression, it's when I'm not into a songwriting session per se, that I'm most of the times that I'm sitting down with either on my bass or on a guitar or on some keyboard, that I'm trying to come up with something. Most of the time I'll walk off with hardly anything that I'm happy with.
Yeah.
because I find my muscle memory and thought patterns that just like tend to repeat themselves and fall in the same loops.
Mhm.
But the best moments is when I'm doing something completely different. Either I'm either at work or doing some work in the yard or swimming or going for a run or something, and something comes from completely out of nowhere, and that's generally the stuff that sticks. Then it's a matter of or actually when I'm falling asleep, that's also generally some fertile moments to come up with music. That's I have to wake up and record this little idea, just like something really simple, and then I can elaborate on that. But yeah, lyrics wise, it's a lot of introspection and or reflection with what goes on in what I'm exposed to in day-to-day basis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
or it could even be just the something that I read that triggers something, or I don't know, the title of an episode of a series on Netflix.
There you go. Yeah.
that sparks some idea that leads to something else.
Yeah, and it's mysterious. A lot of your material, it's not just right out there and easily understand. It's abstract art. Really, a lot of it is something that you need to pay attention to. All of it caught my attention pretty good. It's really fun to listen in all ways. Your formal music education, you've obviously you all of you are polished musicians. How did you come up? I'm thinking to myself, nobody's going to say they're self-taught. If you are, you're very good at it. Was there what kind of schooling for you and the rest of the band? How is it, what does that look like?
I don't know about Mårten, but I think that he obviously took drum lessons, but I don't think it was anything like like proper music school. I know that that his father plays drums also, so I guess he's been exposed to live music from an early age. But yeah, just taking, I think, just private tuition and playing in a lot of bands, a lot of different kind of music, and yeah, being a huge fan of progressive rock.
Yeah,
Sampo is he's the only one of us who has proper music training. He went to music high school and studied electric guitar for many years, playing in these really in these large ensembles, like jazz standards, but also a lot of progressive rock and yeah, fusion jazz and all that finger exercises.
yeah, yeah.
But I am self-taught too, and I mean, the musicianship, it's of course there has to be, like, for the kind of music that we do, there has to be like some foundation of it being solid, but I think as much there is that, there is a lot of fake it till you make it.
You know, boy, it's I don't know. I'm listening to this stuff, and it's, you know, I've heard, you know, things, bass lines and things like this in, you know, the greatest musicians to ever play. It's this complex, really complex stuff that has a cohesive feel, and that's very difficult. That I come to find that when a lot of bands, a lot of ensembles, when they're playing complexity in a really complex manner, it's not listenable, or it's not cohesive with the rest of the instruments that they're playing with. This is not the case with you guys. It's just, it's a gel, it's a chemistry thing that happens.
Well, thanks first of all, but it's this, that it's also this environment of being just the three of us, that it makes it not only possible but also necessary for each musician to cover a lot of ground. And especially as a bass player, like I always think of those like really classic rock power trios. You think it could be the Experience or Cream or I love Mountain, for example, like well, but Vanilla Fudge also, but that's a bit different lineup. Like all those bass players, they are working hard. Like all the bass lines, they're so like athletic because there's so much ground to cover. Like it needs to be rhythmical, it needs to be melodic, and also it needs to be propulsive most of the time, and that takes on the job of a bass player and also of a rhythm guitar player. Motorhead, that's also like classic example, that it's like there's so much volume in a sense of density, volume in a sense of also volume, but
right,
but also
right. But yes, and
so
space, there's a huge space to fill.
Yeah, but it's a necessity for this kind of lineup, and I think that's the main idea behind the whole band, that to make the most out of the limitations of being in a power trio.
Yeah.
That it's just three of us, but we're going to make up for the limitation of being just 3 people with playing our asses off.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much sound. Like I said, I mean, it's a wall of sound, and it's so cool. When you were writing this record, is there anything specific that you wanted to accomplish, that you wanted to bring forward that maybe you didn't in the other records?
Maybe not so much in the music itself, because we really cherish this impulsiveness, and we didn't have like a theme or a concept to follow that we wanted to pursue. We generally work so that we try everything and as much as possible, and then if something doesn't work, then we'll forget about it, but we'll try every kind of idea first. So in that regard, we don't really pick a theme and stick to it. But I gotta say that when we were just in the starting the process of changing drummers, we were also in the process of changing booking agencies, and there was this one booking agency that we approached, and that we wanted to work with, and they told us, well, it doesn't really make sense to start working together unless you have a new album that is going to be released, so we can book up a tour to promote the new album. So that kind of got our that itch to go back on tour, go back on the road. That's what at least for me, that what started the motivation for writing this new album. Okay, we better have something new so that we can go and play shows again.
Man, and I definitely want to ask you about that, but first I want to cover the video. I Should Be Running, first single, really intense, kind of bizarre video, a little dark. You shot that, you directed it, you edited it. Is filmmaking in your canon? Is that something that you'd like to do more of?
Well, that's my day job. Like, okay. I'm a video maker, and I work freelance mostly, and I do a lot of really boring videos that pay really well. But one time, seldom, I also get to do something that is also fun and creative, and which I get very little money out of.
Isn't that always the case?
The relation. But yeah, this I actually don't really remember how the idea for I Should Be Running came about. I want to say that it was something that our producer said when our producer Nico Lehdontie, he said when we were recording or mixing, and that led to something else and started the domino effect. But yeah, it came to the point that the story of the video was kind of fleshed out, and then we had this villain figure that needed to be they needed to have an identity, and we started thinking, okay, who could be this villain who comes after us? Right. I don't know if you're into Formula One at all.
Not really. I know of it, but not. Yeah, I don't know a lot about it. But
well, in Finland is huge. It's like one of the main sports here, and there's already with Bitter, there was a music video that I did. It was just like a montage of this one Finnish racer winning all these Grand Prix in a row, and his name is this Mika Häkkinen. And so the song to which that music video was associated with started becoming the Mika Häkkinen song among our fans. And whenever we would play a show, like people would ask for the Mika Häkkinen song. And one thing led to another, and so this villain became this really famous Formula One driver.
That's cool. That's cool. Can we expect another video soon?
Maybe. It's a lot of work, and I would really like someone else to get involved and do one. It's like for Kaleidobolt, or for like any own band, I would feel much more comfortable, like if there was someone, or actually it would be much more inspiring also for myself if there was someone else to come in with a fresh perspective. Of course, like I should be running it's like I'm really happy with how it came out, and the moment that I got the idea, it was a quite clear idea almost from the beginning. So it made sense that I would do it, and also kind of convenient because I could do it for free.
Right. That's always nice, for sure.
Maybe I think it's a bit unlikely that we'll have more videos, because we're actually leaving on tour tomorrow, and we have a lot of shows coming up and more shows in the summer, and I'd like to focus more on the keep this as pleasure, and then have the videos that I make as work, and that distinction keeps me sane.
Yeah, I would imagine so, for sure. Yeah, let's talk about the tour you're doing. You're up all over. Is there a possibility of coming to the States? Have you come to the States before?
No, we never played any shows in the States.
Wow.
Sure, I would love to, but it's much easier said than done.
Right.
Well, I'm sure you've heard this before, that it's really expensive, like really expensive to get visas to come there and play, and the distances compared to Europe are much larger. But I think that the bottom line, like these are all like obstacles that could be overcome if we all of a sudden became extremely popular in the States. But I don't think that I mean, actually, I'm absolutely certain that we don't have the fan base in the States that would allow us to make the trip.
Right.
Maybe if we were supporting for a bigger band, then things would be different. But to come and do our own tour, I think that we could have a couple of decent shows in some specific cities, but everything else would be very difficult.
Yeah, yeah.
Where are you based? Where do you live?
Chicago. I'm in Chicago. Yeah.
I would love to visit Chicago.
Oh, I'd love to have you here. It would be great, and then that's just it, I mean, well, the music you play, it's even the most popular of that type of music, complex progressive type music, is not it's not Katy Perry, it's not Taylor Swift, it's not getting millions and millions and hundreds of millions of fans. It's a niche group that is hardcore. Even your dream theaters of the world, there's it's not the most huge following, but it's a hardcore group that loves what you do. So yeah, it's keep doing what you're doing. I'll have to come to Europe and see you. That's the way that's the way it'll be.
That sounds more likely.
But we would absolutely love to have you here. I will spread the word as best I can. People need to hear your music. It is fun to listen to. It's extraordinary what you guys are doing, and
Thank you.
I love it. Yeah, and my door is always open here on the podcast. And everybody needs to get this one simple trick, May 6th, Smart Records. Marco, it's been a slice, man. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right, take care.
Take care, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.